3, 2, 1, go. Hey, okay, enough. Having fun here. Vision
Hello.
Limited. Hello, everyone. Boundaries. Today, we actually speak about one of the most important pieces for any business owner, entrepreneurs, and also an extremely important piece when it comes to living your life at your own terms. Whatever we do in our lives, it happens that we need focus to make it happen. We need focus to make it happen, and life pulls us left and right, up and down. Events happen, life happens, as you might say, and that may challenge your focus and the boundaries, the no's that you may need to say to some things versus others, and the yeses that you need to go full all in with and into the tasks that you need to accomplish. So this is what boundaries from my own humble perspective means: to have boundaries, to understand the limits. And I think we mentioned it in a previous episode, how boundaries, so how being strict in a way, also mean to create space for the business. In this very specific case, in what we speak about business, about entrepreneurship, about our visionary projects. So creating boundaries, clear, strict, decisive lines around what you're doing, create space, safe space for whatever is that you're doing and creating to expand. And it's counterintuitive. It is not that obvious that by creating limits, I'm able to expand. So how do you see this, Maria? I'm curious to know, how do you see this topic? And the specific question, just to say that, is, do you have yours clear?
I believe I do, the most important ones. And here we'll also say this topic is especially important to those who live with other people, could be friends or could be family. And to set the boundaries is also another way to organize yourself. And I have discovered I came from being a pretty disorganized person to a pretty organized person. And I thought I had resistance towards that because I thought that that would make me feel less free, less authentic, less in the flow. Even unconsciously, I thought I was becoming more of a more boring or an older person in a way. But when I looked at it very, very deeply, I realized that there were some unconscious and limiting beliefs around that. But when I really started practicing it, because being unorganized was not helping me at all on a professional business level, I realized with my own terms and conditions of being organized, of putting things in order, what order feels good to me, it just made such a difference that I thought, wow, I wish I had put this into practice before, not because others were insisting on it, but because it was coming out of me. But okay, yeah, there were like family patterns there that were affecting me. So the point is, putting boundaries is like organizing yourself in when things start and when things come to an end in everything that depends on you. Here, you need to see how you remind yourself how you are the creator of your life and how sovereign you are as an adult to organize yourself and your life and your business as you please and as you see fit. Now, for those of you who are in a family and are living with other people, there is the importance of setting the boundaries, and at the same time with some of the family members, and you will figure out with whom, you may need to have some flexibility, such as like children, for example. Because what I also realized in seeing in other people, and for me, from time to time with when I'm living with other people temporarily, being with my nephews, is that if you are too strict with your boundaries with people who are not, they're not very clear on the importance of these boundaries, or they have extreme difficulty, not just children, but adults have extreme difficulty as to respect other people's boundaries, and there is no bad intention in them. It's just that they don't get it. Then it's either you better get out of the home, that is one possibility, or you are a little bit flexible with these kind of people, because you getting into extremes of strictness can get you easily into anger, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So what you were going to the improvement in your life that was going to come out of the boundaries, if you happen to live with people who have difficulty respecting them, then you also get into conflict with these people very often, and that's not the point. So just as I thought about it when you suggested it, if you're living with people, see with whom you can be a little bit more tolerant, and if there is no possibility, then get out of the home and manage to work outside of the home, or do the activities that are super relevant to you, to be strict with them out of the home, to make sure that they are going to happen.
You made such an important point here with the aspect of working from home and family, people who have family, or anyways who live with a partner in a relationship. The boundaries there can be truly challenged. As Maria said, as you said, Maria, the children would not understand those. There's no boundary that holds with a kid. They are essentially selfish, but that is like because of their development and how they develop.
Yes.
They don't see that. They don't see why should I not enter the room? And at a certain age, they might understand it.
Yeah.
But I am now talking to you from an experiential perspective of having a 2-year young, and he would just get in. So I'm either good with him breaking into the room and jumping on me, or I must find a solution, which is getting out of the house, for example. So as nowadays we are living into this very increasing, also growing trend of home workers, and now post-COVID, if we are in a post-COVID, but whatever, like with this smart working trend that exploded, boomed tremendously, there is the important piece to be understood. What are the things that you can do from home, and what are the things that you can do from outside of your house, and what is that you like doing from home? What is that you like doing from outside of your house? And already by answering these questions, it will help you a lot to set this kind of space boundaries. Now, when it comes to these space boundaries, it is important to state boundaries are not just in the concept of you cannot get into the room, or you cannot talk to me for the next hour. boundaries are also something very important on how you treat people, how you want to be treated by people,
of course.
how you want to work, and how you want your workplace to look like the boundary being no personal stuff at work. Like that was the thing until the 21st century, let's say. Then human finally started waking up a little bit and realizing that we are still humans, although we're working. So it started softening up and opening up the boundaries from that perspective, like breaking that limitation, this dehumanizing limitation of no emotions at work, like all that stuff, right? What are the boundaries that you really want to hold into your workplace, into your business, with your team, with your peers, with your co-workers? Is there something that you're bothered, you're particularly triggered by? Whenever that happens, you go bananas. Whenever he says something, you're like, lose the focus and can't focus anymore for the next 2 hours. Whenever she's mentioning a topic, you're completely out of balance and you don't know how to handle it. It is important to understand these lines. It is important to get into that understanding of yourself, because boundaries expand on potential for your business, for your personal life to be happier, more joyful, for your business to be more productive, more effective, to run more like a clock.
Yes.
For you to have more time, because you're closing tasks in a box, you're closing behaviors in a guideline, and that allows you to move freely in between them, which is tremendously powerful. So this is why we decided, I proposed this topic today. We decided to come up with these, and the reason why I placed that question, do you have yours clear? Do you have clear what your boundaries are, what your limits are? Until what point are you willing to take interruptions, if at all you're willing to take them at all?
Or even some people have this tendency to not be able to be strict with their own commitments, and then they have the tendency to blame others for any the slightest thing that happened. Oh, I couldn't do this because you did this and that, or and that is a typical excuse as to not to be able to, people blaming their relatives or blaming the team, and they are not just able to be just more committed or strict with the things that are important for the business and for themselves. Boundaries. So first of all, like responsibility about what is it that you are deciding consciously that needs to be taken care of in a proper way, and are you really the first one doing that? Another way to see boundaries, for example, is to set clear guidelines or habits. Like imagine there is a team meeting, and there are some people who have very good memory, and there are other people who don't have very good memory. And there's still some people around, I said, they don't write down specifically the things that they have to do for the next week, or they have committed to do for the next week or the next month or whatever. And if you don't do that and you don't have a very good memory, you at some point are going to come up with things that were similar, but not exactly what you said you were going to do and what other people in the team or the business are expecting you to do. So this is also very important, that, for example, in meetings, everybody, when the meeting is over, is very 100% clear on what is expected from them, everybody else, before the next meeting, for example. And that also, I can think it's a way of setting boundaries of, it's not your place here to improvise. For example, when there is a moment to improvise, it's improvise, but when there is no moment for improvisation, you have to stick with what you have agreed with others that you're going to do, and not what you thought 3 days later that you had to do. And here also, so we need to be very humble and very yes, that would be like very professional in our ways, that we cannot trust our minds. Like 4 days later after a meeting, thinking that I was sure that you said that, or that I said that, and the other person is like, no, that wasn't the kind of conversation. So as much as we can, to have an agenda, follow a proper agenda, and make sure that things start and end when we commit to, for our own good, and when we have agreed, if it's involving other people, when other people are also agreeing that that also works for them, and everybody respecting that. Is like also to be punctual. That's also another form of boundary of when things begin and when they end. And it's a form of self-respect and respect towards others in a way. What else do you think of, dear?
So I am going a bit more onto the not even theoretical, but the energetic of boundaries. And what comes to me is this aspect of the masculine, the feminine, the flow and structure, and the importance to have a structure to flow into. Because if you just flow as a visionary, you get lost into your vision. If you just flow with things, it doesn't get down to earth. It keeps on staying in the air. Air would be the flow, and the earth is the structure. It's bounded. It's bounding. Now I'm playing a little bit with the verb, with this word of how you need to flow in the structure. And I mean, imagine the winds without earth, like lost in universe, just going, just lost there in the unlimitedness, in the limitless possibilities, right? And so feminine creativity and also love that we have, visionaries for impact, the difference we want to make, that it needs channeling, that it needs decisiveness, that it needs assertiveness
to take form.
To take form, yes, to take form, to take a shape, to be shaped. So flow within the structure. And the question that I had a few minutes ago, which in a way has a almost obvious answer, and at the same time I do believe there's to explore also the opposite of that answer, is, do you believe that boundaries are more of a masculine or of a feminine trait?
Never thought of that. Okay.
The answer to me is it's masculine. It's masculine energy. It's structure and structuredness into what you do. And the flow is the feminine. And it also has the feminine of the boundary. The boundary needs to be feminine, not to be unbalanced. It needs to be a loving boundary.
Yeah, not aggressive, of course.
Not aggressive.
Not forceful. Yeah.
Not forceful, exactly. An inclusive an inclusive and considering boundary. It's not cutting things out, is focusing the effort of you to make your vision happen. And as you're focusing, boundaries are about time and space in a way. So as you focus your time and into that, and you make sure that you're into that space to do that, into that moment, into that here and now, like just using two words, then you have all what's outside of those lines all the time and all the space to do the rest, which is infinite. If I keep my boundaries clear and I go to my beautiful Pomodoro technique app, for the ones of you who don't know what Pomodoro technique is, 25 minutes break, 25 minutes break, 25 minutes long break, kind of a strategy to be productive, so to speak. And now there's tons of apps to actually keep yourself on track and so on and so forth. And I recently started using one, a very good one, that is really helping me. And I do see that what I would have done in 2 hours, my brain is conditioned to do it in 25 minutes or an hour if needed. I mean, I'm not forced to do it in 25 minutes.
Yes.
But I use that
on the next week, on the 15 minutes, we could talk about this app if you want to. I mean, if you're finding it very useful, we can share about it to our visionaries.
100%. Yes.
Great.
Why not? Yeah, 15 minutes would be great for that. And so as I keep my focus there, like the energy, what does a laser focused create if not results? And I do see that. And the rest of the time, it's flowing, it's feeling more light, it's feeling more fulfilled. There's more space for playing,
a clear mind,
with clear mind to channel whatever the rest I might have to channel. You see how it's really about loving also the fact that, okay, I was taking 2 hours to take it easy, to be relaxed. And if I think about it, I was making a disservice to myself. I was being relaxed, I was taking it easy, but I would have spent the whole day to do something that it takes 1/3 of the time. And so there's this balance of loving boundaries and strict, decisive focus, which open space, the limits that make clear how much time, how much potential, how much energy you still have to do the rest. And this creates a virtuous cycle. So
yes,
this is what I see in terms of boundaries and like the masculine and the feminine of it.
Something that came to me when you shared that was the image that I got was our brains. I know there are many theories. So some experts say that it works to some extent, like the two hemispheres are very much differentiated. And there are all the theories that say that it always working one side with the other jointly. But when you talk about the feminine and the masculine, it was very clear to me, like there is a side that is more analytical and is all the time, and it's very linear in the thinking, and it's very precise, and it's very the compartmentalizing aspect of the brain. which is on the left side of the brain. And then the other one that is where there is the intuition, the creativity and all that. This is like proper, if we simulate feminine openness, flow, this, that. When you put these two together and you learn how to use both sides of the brain on the human, for the human experience, which is meant to be this way, then you get the best of it, and you have like a balanced, I think that you have a balanced life. Like, obviously for some people, they are born with one side more developed than the other, but either way, and you should go with your natural qualities, of course, and live your life according to that. But either way, trying to bring a balance into your life is really good, to make use of both the feminine and the masculine, and both sides of the and both hemispheres of your brain. There is balance in creation. Something that came to me as well is that, for example, when creation creates a human body or a tree, there are boundaries as well. Like human beings don't have a height of 4 meters, for example. And the trees have, within their species, they're all different, but they have some boundaries so that you can still identify the species. You see, so there are patterns that can be defined as boundaries in creation for you to still call that thing whatever. And then there is the improvisation in a way of it has unique features at the same time. So there is room also for creativity and for newness.
Yeah, absolutely. And it brings clarity. Look at that. Man, how could you distinguish one plant from another to
exactly
heal yourself without this clear distinction, right? I mean, you do see a clear distinction in between those, in between two humans and so on and so forth. Now, I want to bring a couple of simple practices. As Maria mentioned, the right and left hemisphere, and we're talking about boundaries, something that truly helped me into taking boundaries on into my life with more ease has been breathing, alternated nostrils breathing. Going towards that, because Maria mentioned the hemispheres. It is very important to make sure that they communicate.
Yes.
And while I don't fully agree on the fact that we are born maybe with so much difference in between the two hemispheres, I hold the belief that we actually develop it based on different experiences and so on and so forth. For sure, there's some difference, like but I do believe into the development of the difference. So becoming right-handed or left-handed, I do also believe that you absolutely can develop and be and now I'm lost in
I don't know the word either, but I have myself
you can use both hands at the same level, like you can write with left and right.
With practice, yes, but naturally you would also have a tendency to use one or the other, as you would naturally be more analytical or more artistic in general.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I want, and what I won't stop kind of debating right now.
See, I know.
But
go on.
Alternated breath, alternated nostril breath. So you basically need to take deep breath in through your nose. You breathe through your nose, your mouth is closed, breathing in through your nose. Then you need to close one nostril. Usually you start by tapping on the right one, and you breathe out from the left. As you finish the out breath, you breathe in from the same, and you use, there's a specific reason, I'm not going into the details, just do it because it has very
I know
scientific reason for using this finger, the ring finger. You actually change from going like this, you actually tap on the left nostril now with a ring finger of the right hand, by the way. You breathe out.
Yes.
From the right nostril, and you breathe in from the same. So at each and every out breath, you change. Out breath, you change. So science, to be short on this, demonstrated that the practice of 3 minutes, of the daily practice of 3 minutes alternated nostrils breath.
3 minutes, okay.
Just 3 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It's
when I do it, I didn't count it. So thank you for that, because I was not aware of how much time, but okay, thank you for that.
I mean, 3 minutes of these are in 10 with 10 breaths, with 10 full cycles, like
more or less.
Here,
okay.
You're here and going back. It's 10, it goes to the 2 minutes and a half already. It skyrockets the focus you have throughout the day, the ability to realize when you get distracted, the ability to maintain focus for longer spans of time, the ability to say no with no guilt, shame, regret, the ability to say yes to others, but in particular is saying no, that it's a problem in our society very often. The emotional management, like I could actually go on for a good 10 minutes with benefits. And it truly helps you in holding your boundaries safely, decisively. And trust me on that. I really wanted to share this easy practice. This is a practice that I did not come up with. This is a practice that our modern society did not come up with.
No, it's ancient.
Practice that is 10,000 years old, and they were practicing out of intuition, out of meditation. They knew what it was doing before it could be studied with our own knowledge and technologies, and it works. So this is something that you could do in the daily. And the question that I want to leave you with as we close the episode is the exact question that I wrote in the title of this episode. Do you have yours clear? What does having boundaries mean to you in your life, in your relationship, in your work, in whatever other area you may think of? What are your boundaries? Do you hold them strong? Are you able to hold them? What areas are you able to hold the boundaries? What areas are you not able to hold the boundaries? By the way, the answers to this question may open a whole self-developmental conundrum and rabbit hole. So I deeply recommend you to eventually explore a little bit on that, and then eventually have someone who can support you into the exploration, because it is the relationship you're not able to say no and hold your boundaries. There may be fear of rejection and need for approval and all of that, so that you don't if you put a boundary, a wall, you're afraid to be said no, I don't want to see you anymore, or you see like where it goes. But that's what it is. That's the work you need to do. And we already advocated for the extreme power of inner work.
Yes.
Our visionary projects to happen and to impact. So from my side is everything. Maria, bring it home, and let's
yes, dear. So just to insist on the importance of putting boundaries to contain the creations of your life. To give it a form, there needs to be some like recipients, containers in time, space, and make sure that you are very clear on them, and that you lovingly communicate to anyone who may be involved, so that they are part of your team, in you being able to have your boundaries, and you being also a great supporter to other people's boundaries. And if you're not very clear on them, this is something that you really want to sit with, have a close observation of yourself in where you have difficulty to setting these boundaries, whether it's limiting beliefs and the emotional reactions that you have to doing it just with yourself or in relation to others. Explore that. It's worthy, very, very much worthy that you explore this. Not just for the sake of your business, but for your life in general.
For your whole life, my dear visionary. Yes. Your vision comes and sprouts out of your life. It is a beautiful creation of life. It's not just about business. So.
And Ayrton and I are here for you if you need any kind of support.
Exactly that. So, dear visionaries, we love you. Stay visionary. Create and hold and cultivate your boundaries. It will serve you.
And enjoy your journey as a